Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, August 9th. We are getting all the daily quests done and going through the news. So tomorrow, when the Frozen Throne expansion is actually out, we can focus just on card pack openings and building new meta decks. I'm not really sure how I'm going to build the meta decks. I suppose on screen, I'm just going to look at the cards I have and try to do my best to win. Regardless of whether they are new cards or old cards. And they're all going to probably be wild cards. But I also will want a lot of comments and help on those videos if people have better suggestions. Or if people just know what the best meta deck is, they can send me a link to that and I'll just copy that completely. Where are we? Which is a good question. We have daily quests today. We need 4 more victories. I need to do 4 damage to the enemy and play 3 more that cost more than 5. So 1 more game with 8+ is all I kind of need. There's a lot of news, and kind of happy I got through with the bad stuff, or most of the bad stuff, in the first episode. So now we can just focus on more specific video game stuff and good news. For instance, this game by Drinkbox Software, the people that made Guacamelee, called Severed, has just had a surprise release on Switch. It's a slicing RPG, so it's kind of like Fruit Ninja, but you collect items and armor, and you have to actually target specific parts of some of the enemies. But it's an interesting concept, I suppose. It also kind of has that Dios de la Muerte style, but I think it's not actually going as much as Guacamelee focused on that. That would be one I'd like to play, but I guess the only way I'd be able to play it is either get a Switch, which I don't want to do that, or hope that it comes to PC or a cell phone, and I imagine it would come to a cell phone before it went to PC. Gearbox, the creators of Borderlands, has teased a new top secret 1 vs 1 competitive shooter with card collecting, and this is very odd. Like, very, very odd. Because they had already done Battleborn, and that failed. And now they're doing another 1 vs 1 competitive shooter with card collecting. Is this just Battleborn respun? Are they going to give it a different name and try and restart that series? Like, I'm failing to really understand where they even have the money at this point. Like, sure, Borderlands 1 sold good. Borderlands 2 sold great. Borderlands pre-sequel probably sold fine. But it's not like Duke Nukem Forever sold it well. It's not like Bulletstorm got them a bunch of money. It's not. Maybe that's why they're taking these publishing and licensing things, is to maintain some currency flow, but like, I honestly don't know where they're getting this money to make yet another game. It has to be a reskin of Battleborn. It must be. This is my speculation. Battleborn, you got these skills each time you leveled up, and you could pick one, and then it eliminated the other, I believe. I imagine this is all that is. But this game isn't going to sell either. Like, you can't do this. You can't go against Overwatch. They should have already learned that lesson. And yet it seems like they're going to try. Maybe this was already in development, or maybe this is just some weird way in which they're working towards Borderlands 3 and they just can't quite have a finished product yet. So instead of releasing Borderlands 3, they're instead what would you even call it? They're piecemealing out the parts of Borderlands 3, and then eventually they'll have a final product. I guess that kind of is what Hellblade feels like too, is that the next Ninja Theory game will probably look as good and play even better than Hellblade, but in the meantime they needed some money, so they sold this small thing. But I also kind of think that maybe Ninja Theory had an agreement with a different company, and then that agreement fell apart, and then they just had this half-finished product that they needed to sell in some way, and they did a decent job around it, I suppose, if that is the case. Valve is making a Dota card game to release in 2018. Interesting idea. That, with the power of Valve behind it, I mean, that might pull me away from Hearthstone. It's an interesting idea. I don't play Dota, but you know, if I know Dota is very popular, so maybe we'd get into that. I can't do too many esports though. I can barely stay up to date with Hearthstone. So if I did go play this new game, I'm gonna probably never do Hearthstone again, or I'm drastically changing my channel, so one day I'm streaming for 8 hours, or more likely 5 hours of Hearthstone one day, and then 5 hours of the next card game the next day, and I don't know if I want to do that. Sad news to me particularly, I think Middle-earth Shadow of War has announced loot boxes, and I think this is probably just a early announcement of the death of this being a good game series. They've just killed the series already. Like, I'm probably being exaggerating a little bit for effect, but this is what happened to Dead Space 3. They put in loot boxes, and frankly the loot boxes in Dead Space 3 weren't even that offensive, but the concept alone was offensive, and the meddling by WB Games in what is the local subsidiaries' focus on making a good game is a problem. We saw similar things with Deus Ex and Mankind Divided, where there was a lot of meddling to have an online multiplayer and pre-orders and all kinds of garbage like that. And so I would have, before this announcement, been like, felt that there was a good chance of Shadow of War being a very good game, considering how Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor was a pretty good game, but now I've lost complete faith in it. Like, I have no confidence. This is a complete vote of no confidence for WB Games and the next Middle-earth game. And I don't know how you fix that, too. Like, I don't know if this turns into a scenario where the third game in the series might fix it, or maybe there won't be a third game. More than likely, I guess what would happen is the company that makes Middle-earth games is probably going to make a whole new series after Middle-earth fails that's going to feel like a spiritual successor. And that's what I imagine will be the next entry point of a good game. Kind of in the same way that the last Batman game kind of ruined that series, and frankly some of even the previous sequels to the Batman game weren't that great. but I think the company was Arcane that made the first Batman Arkham Asylum games, and I imagine the next project they work on will be a spiritual successor. Moving on with news, Dragon Box Builders is headed to the Switch and the PS4, but they didn't give me any details, so we don't know if it's coming to the West or when. This is interesting. Because I switched markers halfway through, I've got my new fine marker is literally just not working the right way. 6, 7. Let's just play this and discard my entire hand. Might as well have played the coin too, by the way.
For the wild.
The Spelunky creator and 3 other programmers of small independent games have announced a game called UFO 50, which is 50 Nintendo-like games, like Nintendo Entertainment System-like games. It's kind of an anthology game, as best as I would describe it, which is something we haven't really seen. They're not mini games, but they are Nintendo-like games, so they're not going to be super long. You might spend 2 or 3 hours on each of the 50 games, which might mean it's an 150-hour game to play all of them, if you wanted to play all of them, which I don't know if that's really the case or not.
Where shall I strike?
Because honestly, as I've been looking back and thinking about all the Nintendo Entertainment System games you want to play, there's probably less than 50 that you'd want to do. You want to do Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Duck Hunt. If you have the Zapper, Duck Hunt, and Logan's Alley, maybe Ninja Turtles. And after that short list, like you're talking maybe Zeldas. Yeah, you'd want to play Zelda and maybe Zelda 2. Punch Out. There's probably 20 or 30 games, but I don't know. I don't think you get up to 50 on the NES. And I never owned a Super NES, so I would just be playing a couple of the games that I know are sequels.
What?
Tragic Master says Narc for NES. I don't think I've ever played that one, but I've heard of it. Yeah. There's definitely a list, and when you compare the list of good games for the NES that people have fond memories of, or even bad games that people have fond memories of for the NES, compared to what the NES Classic offered, those lists don't line up as well. You can play Tetris, certainly. I don't know if Tetris for the NES is as good as, say, Dr. Mario, but there's a decent amount of them. But when you start looking at the potential list of NES games, particularly the ones that only came out in Japan, there's a lot of filtering there. I believe there was some Final Fantasy. I would never play Battletoads. Tragic Master says Battletoads. I'd never play Battletoads. No, that I know that horror story of that level that's like the most difficult level to pass at all ever made. Although I bet the part before the impossibly difficult part, that is kind of the same thing with Ninja Turtles. Is I'd play Ninja Turtles for like an hour, and as soon as I got to the swimming section, I'd be like, time to give up. You've won. There's no more game. NES games are incredibly difficult. And see, that's when I think about giving games like that to young kids these days. I don't think they would. I think they would wisely not spend the effort, and they'd have better. So, like, I don't think kids today would be able to play NES games, but maybe they should play them to learn some commitment and frustration that we had to go through in the day. Tragic Master says, I did it when I was like 9, just memorization. Yeah. But, well, I have a terrible memory. I'd probably still not be able to do it. But I recently went back and tried to play Wolfenstein 3D, and then I watched somebody else play it, and both times it made me motion sick. Even casually glancing at the video every few minutes, every time I looked would make me motion sick, and I barely was able to beat the first level in episode 1 of Wolfenstein 3D. I don't think I ever played that game, though. A lot of retro games are really not worth it, and I've noticed, I've started to play some older and older games that it becomes very, very obvious. It's like, no, give me the new Tomb Raider reboot, not the old Tomb Raider games. Give me the new stuff that's super easy or has a super easy mode, because I just don't have time or endurance for it. I'm too easily frustrated these days. Moving on with the news, the developer of another Metroid 2 reboot remake, which was a fan-made game and got DMCA'd, he's now working with Microsoft, I believe, on Ori Will of Wisps. I need to play the original Ori game, talking about hard games there. Speaking of hard games, so that's interesting. It's what I want to see all people that make fan-made games do, honestly, is that don't make these fan-made games that are just going to get DMCA'd and waste your time. Even if you're learning something, at the end of the day, you're not going to have something you can put on your resume that well, although in this case he was able to use it on his resume, but instead make something original like what he's doing now. Originality is key. Apparently within a few hours of the Pokemon Go Legendary Birds coming out, Zapdos was beaten by a team of just 3 players. I don't understand how you fight the Legendary Birds, but it seems like they are probably some kind of gym boss battle thing where you play as teams. Let's see, if I do this and this, I can draw cards. I am looking for a victory here. Let's see.
For the wild.
There you go. Bandai Namco saw games revenue drop by 28% this quarter. Looking at a list of what they made, though, it kind of makes sense. It's a sad statement, though, because the games they've made are Japanese-centric games. I believe they're working on the Bleach game. They're working on the TBZ game. They really didn't this quarter have anything great to offer. Even I thought this was Capcom, and I could have blamed it on like their terrible Switch port of Bomberman, but no, Bandai Namco didn't have anything to do with that. They are working on Code Vein, so assuming Code Vein comes out and is actually popular, then that might succeed. Tragic Master says, good game, thank you. I think probably the problem with Bandai Namco, if I was just to guess from the outsider, is that they license to themselves or they license to other company the big ticket names like Dragon Ball for far too much, and then they don't really have any interesting good games that bounce around that. Now I guess I just need victories and what is going on with that? Total dominance, 3 victories, and nobody's listed. Did everybody defriend me? I just scrolled down on the mouse. Well, this new version is buggy, as we can see. So I can't even see friends of people trying to send me friend requests. I need 3 victories though, so I guess we'll just go to the thing. Tragic Master says I'll help. Be right there. Do we spectate Tragic Master? We're supposed to go long. Anyways, let's just spectate this guy and see what happens. See if this works. In spectator mode. Tragic has gone offline. Should I do one more arena run? That's the question. Minecon, moving on with news, is yeah, I don't know if this new update's gonna allow it. Send me a friend request, Tragic Master. Are you seeing this, by the way? Or is this something with my software and my setup? You just went offline again. Like, is it like this? Currently in spectator mode. It says I'm not spectating anything. Had to relog. It happened to me too. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. I think their latest update is bugged. Not a big deal. I can just play Murloc quests, but I would be interested to see if this is it. So Minecon has voted, now that Minecraft is owned by Microsoft, to get rid of its actual real world expo, and now it's just doing a live stream. This is probably the best indication that Minecraft is dying than anything else. Like the fact that there's not interest by the owner, Microsoft, now to even have that big convention, which honestly, for little kids that are fans of Minecraft, I could see that. But I've been watching the Minecraft players, and they're getting less and less views, and they're less and less interesting, and they have less and less to do. And most of the Minecraft players are doing special maps and plugins and things where it doesn't even make that much sense. One of the things that kind of sucks about the RetroPie Raspberry Pi that I'm working towards building as soon as I can afford it, is it doesn't run Java Minecraft at all. It has just a package to run regular Minecraft Pocket Edition, and there's really not enough power in a Raspberry Pi 3 to do Java Minecraft. So it's a little too demanding. Can't challenge you. The button is gray, says you're not in the main menu. I relogged and it sorted itself out. Alright, I will exit out and we'll see what happens. Like, the Overwolf program, by the way, updated, and the Hearthstone Tech Tracker program updated. Not really surprising there, though, because everything would have to update.
Where have your journeys taken you?
I'm running this at 30 frames per second, by the way, but nobody's complained so far. And I think that's fixed the flicker on the mouse. Let me know if anybody sees that. There we go. So So it was some kind of like little bug. And we'll still just play Murloc. Although I shouldn't play Murloc because that guy's already at level 60. Steam Direct has already launched 1,000 games in 7 weeks. This is really crazy. But what's even crazier is I haven't seen a single one of them. The idea that Steam Direct was going to flood Steam's front page with garbage has been averted so far, at least for me. Again, let me know in the comments if you've been looking at the Steam front page and seen that there's been a major increase of like of garbage, because like I'm not seeing any of that. Like the games that are getting suggested to me are there's our Hearthstone deck tracker. I want to try Golf with Friends on Steam. Might have to get it soon. I played Golf with Friends, I think, on a cell phone, and it was fun for a couple hours, and then it kind of lost me. If that's the game I'm thinking of. The problem with it is it got very demanding, and pretty much you had to get a hole-in-one on some very crazy shots to go further, because it had that cell phone. You have to get 3 stars before you can unlock the next thing, I think is the problem I had with it. I played it a long time ago. I think that's what Golf with Friends is. I guess I should just look and see if that's the one I'm thinking about, or if that's a totally different game. Speaking of games on Steam, Golf with Your Friends. Nope, this is not that game I was thinking about at all, but it's similar. This one I saw other people on Steam playing that, and it was pretty popular for about a week or two with collaboration and stuff. But I'm not sure if you can play it very much by yourself, or it's almost a game like that would probably be better if you could actually get your friends together and just go play putt-putt in the real world. But then you don't have the craziness. But yeah, I've seen people play Golf with Friends. It's great. I would heavily recommend, if you were trying to stream that, though, that you would have some kind of script or lines of some other dialogue to have a reason or something to talk about. I would make it your blog channel if you were streaming it. Like, I kind of like what I do on Hearthstone, where you talk about the news and stuff, is have something else to talk about. But if you're just playing with your friends, just maybe get really drunk if you can get really drunk, and if legally, and have fun that way. Let's see. Who can I play that's not at 60? Let's play this. Tragic Master says, just look like fun, but I love pool, so would enjoy the crazy bank shots. Have you played the pool game that I've covered on Steam? Let's see if I can find it. What is it called?
I will fight with honor.
Pool Nation.
Can escape my fury.
Pool Nation's a pretty decent pool. It's got a bunch of challenges that you can go through, or you can just go into a default play pool against people section. It has a lot of DLC in it. That's the main problem with Pool Nation. And what's funny is the creators of Pool Nation's website didn't work for like a year, and I told it to them, and they didn't seem to care. but then they came out with a new game, so I have no idea what they were, who was in charge of keeping the website live. What
you got there?
It wasn't a year. No, it was probably a month or two, and I bet they've got it fixed now. They came out with a VR pool darts and just generally walking around the bar game that is separate, which was a little weird. I need to do this and then play this and then do this.
You're not that sharp.
Justice is mine.
We'll kill that. So yeah, back to Steam Direct. I guess their new Discovery 2.0 must have gone live right with Steam Direct, because I haven't seen any of the junk. And even Jim Sterling, who goes out and seeks the garbage on Steam, isn't really finding a lot to cover. He's had to expand to looking at the PlayStation Network too. He's had to do a decent amount of extra work. Let's see, combo, deal 1 damage. We'll play this. Plus 4 attack here.
A little cut.
Kill this. Play this for coin.
Justice is mine.
Get rid of that guy. You can now get Breath of the Wild games. No, not Breath of the Wild games, but Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild in-game items. Not really good stuff, but small stuff through the news channel, which seems like an odd integration, like, honestly, that you have to go look at the news channel and I guess you click on a link, or it just tells you a tip on where to go find items into the game. Here we're working our way now at this point to finishing the news. Like, the rest of these are mostly announcements. So Apollo Justice Ace Attorney is coming to the 3DS eShop. You can swap between the Japanese and English version of the arts and animation, so you get both, which I'm sure fans of Ace Attorney are gonna like that. Ooh, how does this guy have a lifesteal? Wait a minute, how'd you get a card with lifesteal already, Tragic Master? That's part of the Frozen Throne expansion, unless they changed it. And we've got the new icon. Can we buy the cards now? Am I wasting my time? Let's see. Coin. And let's see. Transform. Darn it.
Justice is mine.
I wanted to see how lifesteal works. 2 damage gives 2 heal. That's what I figured it did. So 2 damage gives 2 heal. I thought lifesteal might be a thing where at the end of the turn it just takes 1 health away from everything and gives it to them. I'd like an explanation though, Tragic Master. How did you get that card early? How do I get that card early is a better question. Abduction, a game I purchased specifically because I wanted to play it earlier than I normally would play a new game. And I haven't gotten around to actually playing it. Sadly, Abduction is coming to the PlayStation 4 this month, so more people can play that. I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation VR, but it did have VR support on the PC, so that would makes sense. Tink Master. Question mark, says Tragic Master. Trink Master, Tink Master. I'll have to go look that up. Maybe they changed cards that already existed. Or maybe it was given to him through like Prince Malchazar or something. At random. Ye7 for PC is launching August 13. August 30th. I think I've mentioned that before. Gun Gal VR is now available for Steam. I'm not sure if this is really news. Gun Gal was already on Steam, but they've made a VR version of it. So I'm left kind of scratching my head whether that's...
Justice is mine.
Tragic Master says, Tink Master is a classic legendary that no one plays. The 3-3 transform 0-0. I had to run Tink Master because I am cool, lol. We need to go look at Tink Master. So there's some old cards that are getting changed and they didn't mention it. Which is funny because they did mention when I logged in that they changed Dreadstein.
The menagerie is for guests only.
The PlayStation Update 5.0 is going to add Twitch 1080p streaming. I don't know if PlayStation can stream the Twitch right now at all, but my fear is this is eventually just going to destroy Twitch, which isn't really a problem for me because I don't stream on Twitch, but it's a problem for the audience. And if people don't want to watch video game videos because they have to go to YouTube, that doesn't really help me grow an audience at all. It just irritates the viewers. So I would hope there's some limitations and to stop people from just flooding Twitch and destroying it with little kids streaming and not doing any quality content there. Right now, in general, I imagine both on YouTube and Twitch, that's kind of a consistent problem, and maybe it just fixes itself in the long run, no matter what. That very possibly could just be the solution, is that eventually people will not watch people that are streaming on Twitch that are bad at streaming, and so people will eventually stop streaming. Res Infinite is on Steam. This was a very happy surprise. I would recommend anybody go get Res Infinite now if you want to pay the full price. That being said, it is a pretty old game, so it wouldn't be a horrible idea if you waited either. Let's see.
Justice is mine.
But I would say eventually play Resident Infinite on PC. It will be the best version of the game you've ever played. And the Digital Foundry was able to get up to 16 megabit, 16K resolution on it. So, like, double an 8K monitor resolution on the game. But it is an old game that uses vector graphics, so that's not really that surprising either.
All realities, all dimensions.
Thank you, Tragic Master. I think I have one more victory to do. Yeah, let's play this. This one is only at 50, so Shaman in particular should get more play. Obviously I don't play it enough. Final Fantasy XIV has had over 10 million players. This is probably not as good of a news as it sounds, though, because they've done a bunch of free weekends, and Final Fantasy XIV is the MMO Final Fantasy, and it's been over the lifetime of what they the entire is over the lifetime of since it's come out, which is not that high. I imagine if I did the research, I would guess that World of Warcraft over its lifetime has gotten over 50 million players, if not a lot more.
Job's done.
And I don't even know if World of Warcraft particularly is the most successful MMO. I don't know if any of them really succeed because there's a lot of effort you have to do to keep your servers going, whereas other video game creators can just invest their initial development time and funding and then sell the game. Hellblade Susuno's Sacrifice, we already talked about it, but at the beginning it tells you if you die too often it will have a permadeath and delete your save file. As far as I've seen, this seems to be a bluff, or at least a vast exaggeration. I've heard rumors of people saying that it happened to them, but they may just be trolling too, so kind of have to leave it at that. In general, I would imagine just don't worry about it. You're not going to die so often in that game that it actually gets deleted. It's simply there as part of the storytelling device of dealing with somebody who is suffering from mental health problems and is constantly afraid because of that, I think. And then the final piece of news is that Fig's first funded game, which is called Kingdoms and Castle, has seen a 100% return on to investors. Which is to say, I guess if you funded that game through Fig, you would have gotten your money back. And doubled it. Yeah. You would have doubled your money, is what I think they're saying. And while that sounds nice and all, the truth is that's not really that good. I played that backwards completely. I imagine if you had just put your money in a savings account, you wouldn't have made as much money in the same amount of time, but you may have very well not taken on the vast amount of risk to fund a video game. And if you just put it in a general stock account where it took the average of the Dow or the Indy 500, not Indy 500, what is it? The other one besides the Dow. If you just invested in general in the stock markets, you probably would have gotten maybe double your investment there too. The stock markets right now, although I don't follow them that much, are very, very high. I think way higher than they should be, and they're probably overinflated, but they've been going up for a while now. Again, I have to... NASDAQ, says Tragic Master. Yeah, the NASDAQ 500. And then we have a new guy, Jagmaster. What's up, my man? Hey, Jagmaster. Yeah. Now would be a good time to buy gold because it's relatively cheap if you were going to buy real gold, not gold jewelry, but like bars of gold. Because the value of things that people think will always have value. Of course, I'm not giving real stock market advice, but since the stock markets are so high, the value of things that like gold and platinum and silver tend to be pretty low. So if you want a gold bar that you can put under your bed, now would be the time to buy it. And that's it for all the news. So I'm glad we're the news. I don't know how my new having to use a different marker is not working well at all. This is a huge mess of just smeared marker ink everywhere. Like, the ultrafine tips just erased perfectly fine. This is horrible. So I'll spray the cleaner. That's probably way too much. And have to clean off my whiteboard. So we're kind of in a interesting position because we're going to finish everything here on this channel, like on this account. Everything's going to be finished, and then we kind of just need to keep streaming to try to get more people to watch. So I kind of need to keep going. I guess that means we move over to the European account. I guess that means we move over to the Asian account. This is probably going to be the last day that we focus on those too much. I may very well just do any daily quests. They sell gold futures. Gold they have not found yet. So if you buy futures, your 1 ounce of gold is owned by 200 people owning the same 1 ounce. Owning the same 1 ounce don't buy futures. Thank you, Tragic Master, for the advice. Like, if I was going to buy gold, if I could afford it, I would literally buy, like, a 1 ounce actual piece of gold. I want it in my hand. I want to put it under my bed. I want to do what is probably an insane, crazy thing to do. But I don't want to own future or stocks and just have a piece of paper. I have a tiny retirement account that has far too little money in it that owns stocks, and I'm fine with that for retirement reasons. But if I'm going to make a special investment, I want that. And I might very well argue that maybe instead of buying gold, you should just buy bullets. In case the entire world falls into the Mad Max scenario where everything is not worth anything, so you have to just pillage and pirate for everything. There's so much ink on this whiteboard right now.
Overtime.
Here's a card that will work pretty decently in Frozen Throne, because there's a card for, I think, Shaman that bread plus bullets equals cash is greater than cash. Yeah, that's right. Like, if you really are worried about it, I don't really worry about stuff like that, but I do think it's a worthwhile and fun mental exercise to do, just to see how prepared you really would be. All the poor people with diabetes are gonna die within a week, almost certainly, because there's no way you're gonna make insulin if the society collapses. And pretty much anybody with any other drug dependency that you can't craft, not illegal drugs, but like prescription drugs, are going to either suffer a lot or end up dead within the first couple of years. Yep. I think probably playing video games puts people more into thinking about stuff like that than people that don't play video games too. I might make that argument because so many games have that setting, that post society apocalypse setting. But I don't take it too seriously. I would like a bunker in my backyard, but in all actuality, I'd just fill it with junk and use it as a garage to hold stuff. I wouldn't ever actually need or use it. And if it hurt the property value of my house, I wouldn't do it. It's kind of the exact opposite of my retirement account in a lot of ways. It's like I have money in my retirement account, but I don't 100% trust that it'll be enough or it will be there at all when I want to retire. Because everything's a risk, and I think the guy you're playing is a legit dummy. I think the guy I'm playing is letting me win. There's a Frozen Throne card that takes an entire copy of your opponent's deck and puts it in your deck. So you can play it pretty early on, and you can have potentially like 60 cards in your deck.
Job's done.
One of the things I was thinking about is so many people play Reno Jackson. I probably should have Ambush Bug in every deck I play, just so I put multiple duplicates of some card in their opponent's deck. That way they can't play Reno Jackson and refill their life to 30 halfway through the game, which is very consistently happening these days. Like, everybody's playing Reno Jackson. Oh, that's Jag that said it. Jag, I'm playing Tragic Master. He's letting me win. Just in case you're not aware. But they both have Master in their name. I wonder if they know each other. Or if they're an alternate thing. Yeah, but that makes your deck look more inconsistent. To have 60 cards, if you play aggro, you will almost beat any player. Says Jag. Yeah, I did see that card and think that there is kind of that inherent flaw of, okay, you've got all of your opponent's cards, now what do you do with it? It doesn't really play towards any victory scenario. But it was an interesting card to add because it's just something we haven't seen before. It's probably too crazy of a thing to add, honestly. There needed to be some steps in between where there was a card that stole 5 cards from your opponent's deck, or 10 cards, or 20 cards before it just took the entire opponent's deck. There was a fan-made card called Do or Die that I saw that would just draw your entire hand and play it. Play it right then or there. And, well, that would have been a very interesting card. Jagmaster says, I assume you're playing Wild? Yes, I am playing Wild right now. I'm finally getting my whiteboard clean. Man, I went through so much cleaner. I don't know what the deal was with that is. Why the fine tip markers are so much dirtier than the ultra fine tip markers. Gain control of this. This.
too full.
I'm glad to be finished with Law and Order Legacies. That boy was that game bad. Not really a lot to say about it, too. It's just kind of bad. I really reinforce the fact that I don't like Law and Order as a TV show in shows like that. But that means I need to move on to something else, and this week is going to be a bit of a struggle to get my pre-recorded videos done. Because of just all of the Knights of the Frozen Throne expansions. Jagmaster says, I'm kind of happy for the new expansion because I see the meta slowing down so I can make an aggro deck and win 90% of my games. I hope I can win 90% of my games. That would be very lovely. I think inherently, though, we need to get all the players to that point, and the only way they can do it now is either allow single player to get you up to a separate ranked ladder, or fill the current ranked ladder with so many bots just run by Blizzard that are designed to lose. Otherwise, what Blizzard is doing right now, and what they seem to want to stick with, is the idea that at best an average player is only going to win 50% of the time, which is just too low of a win ratio for most players. It really is. Like, when I played Bioshock 1, I died once. So for 12 to 20 hours of gameplay, I was at 100% win ratio from my perspective, except for that one time I died. Whereas when you're playing ranked and when you're a new player and you don't have good cards and you don't know what you're doing, which I still would classify myself as someone who doesn't fully know what they're doing. I probably have a decent collection of cards now, but I've been mostly just focused on struggling to get the daily quests done and get more gold to get better cards. Most newer players, the people that you need to bring into the game, aren't having probably as good of an experience as the older players. People who know what the word meta means are probably not the people that Blizzard should focus on, because those people are going to come in and come out. They're going to either continue to play the game they've been playing for years, or they're going to leave and maybe come back later. But you need that new lifeblood. You need the new players. Eventually, if Hearthstone was going on for decades and decades long, people would just be too old to be playing Hearthstone. Like, I don't plan on playing Hearthstone when I'm 80 years old. That's not gonna happen, more than likely. Jagmaster said, but if they had a lot of bots in ranked, then people would get golden heroes so fast. Who cares? I don't even want them to have the golden hero system at all. Like that's just an aesthetic thing, and it's not even that good of an aesthetic thing. On the scales, weigh in your mind, which is more important? The fact that 50% of all players are unhappy because they're losing and they're not earning gold, and they're not getting more cards very fast, if at all, versus a few players being able to say, Well, I have gold and I'm better than most. 3 wins equals 10 gold. Then people would get 100 gold per day from no quests. That sounds wonderful. I know you're arguing it as a bad thing. That's a great thing. That would be excellent if all you had to do was play for a little bit each day and get a card pack. Like, the expert players, even Cripperian, he did a video recently, and he doesn't have enough gold and dust to have a full gold collection of every single card, and he plays non-stop and spends a ton of money on the game. Like, the expert players, people that are like you, Jag, you should have 100% of all the cards in gold. You should be the top of the top. People playing ranked and legendary at legendary level, people that are good, people that are getting 90% or hoping for 90% victories, they should be at the top of the level. New content is not for them. Gold content is not for them. Gold content is for people who play the game better than average, or it should be, in my opinion. Yeah, Jagmaster just, he's responding a little bit slowly. But he says, expert, I have no gold cards and I don't even have all the cards. That's exactly my point. Like, you probably should. From how you're describing yourself, as you seem to know how to play this game. You seem to have played it. You seem to be good at it. Probably better than me. And more people should play with gold. The people I play with, I don't see people that often with gold cards. And there's really no reason for that. Tragic Master is really putting me through the paces. He's not making it easy on me. But he's also giving me experience, and that would be helpful as we play and kill the minions. Like, I don't know anybody at all. Not a single person. No famous streamer that has a complete collection, all in gold. And that's crazy. I assume the creator of the game, Ben Brode, has some kind of test version of the game that gives them that. But I don't know anybody else. Jagmaster, but I get what you're saying. People should have more cards so they get to see what's good and bad. Like, just in general gameplay balance, the thing should be we would like more people to get bored with the game because they perfected it, and less people that are bored with the game because they can't even win. Like, so often in video games in general, people don't make it to the end. They quit at the beginning because it's too difficult or it's just boring. We would like to, well, I personally would like at least, to turn that around. I'd rather all games be super easy on easy and there be no excuse at all for an inability to win at a game, at most games. We'll always have Dark Souls. We'll always have Super Meat Boy. There will always be games out there that sell themselves on being really difficult. But for the vast majority of it, things should just be easy. Games are about having fun. They're not about actually challenging people. Real life is challenging. We don't need that in games. Jagmaster, but then in rank, that's what ranks are for. You should not be rank 1 and not even have 60 cards in your collection. There's a balance there, certainly, but I don't think I've ever made it past rank 18. Honestly. So maybe they would eventually have to lower the rank you start at. Maybe you start at rank 50 and get to rank 1. The way the ranked is set up anyways, you still, even if you make it to rank 1, you're nowhere compared to the legendaries. Let me rephrase that, I guess, to make it more sense. Like, when you get to level 1 in ranked in Hearthstone, you're just moved into the legendary series at that point. And then your rank as a legendary is specifically around how the other players are performing. So you might be, it wouldn't be terrible if a decent player did get to ranked legendary number 65 million. Let's say that there was 65 million players that all made it to legendary. It's just a manipulation of the numbers. It'd probably be a little disconcerting, but just gonna play Excavating Evil. I personally wouldn't have an average player try to end each month if they actually played around rank 2, 3, or 4. Because then you have your bronze, silver, gold ending. And that's ideally where I'd hope it would be. Why did I do that? That was dumb. Why are there so many eviscerating evils? Why is this the only card we have? How did we get to this point? Good game, I kill myself. Have played Priest Cards Quest. Oh, is that what happened? Oh, the rank 20s to 5s would be like completely empty though. No, it would be totally full of people that didn't play the game. Or new players. And that's where it should be full of. Is just people who just started the game playing against other people who just started the game, and all of the people that are running cheat bots were playing against themselves, and people that are just bad. At the very least, I would argue that since everybody starts at like rank 22 to rank 1, an average player should at least get to rank 11, and like I said, the best I've ever done is rank 18. And that's been for several months just focusing on daily quests, so I'm at the point personally where I don't care about what rank I'm at. Like, what rank am I right now? Also, remember they split the whole player base between standard and wild, so there's more of that to make it. DC relogged. Good game, man. Thanks for the fun. Alright. So I was gonna look over here. How did I get another cards? How did I get 4 more cards? Where did these cards come from? People saw me disenchant. I guess the game's bugged. Whatever, we'll disenchant these extra cards I got. Somehow. Let's see. I mean, rank 20 is all you need to get the card back the month. Tavern pack? No, I already opened the tavern pack. Like, the game literally is just bugged out. And it's telling me new cards that I got a long time ago, too. So, yeah, they need to push out a patch. Here's one. is when I can disenchant, and I know I disenchanted this a while ago. Do you want to play the game, Jugmaster? Sure, I'll play you. Have you friended me? It's Rydo, R-Y-D-O, number 1423. Type extra in the search. Oh yeah, I forgot you could do that. There's so many things on the search you can do, but you have to, like, you need a help file. Where's my question mark up here where I can see all the hints? Or just, you know what? Put some hints right here. You're wasting space on the screen anyways. Tinkmaster Overspark. No, that wasn't the card that you play, that Tragic Master played. What did he play? Let's see. All cards. Let's see. You played a card with lifesteal in it, and they should all be coming soon. And I have 1,000 dust, so I can make anything except for a legendary. Maybe the game was so glitched out it gave lifesteal to somebody that shouldn't have had it. It's not here. What was that card? Wow. I don't know how he did it, but Tragic Master somehow managed to... There we go. Somehow managed to play a lifesteal card before it was available. I have to applaud that. Jagmaster, can you show me your info so I put it in? You got it right, Jagmaster. You're there. So let's play one of my decks here, and I'm just gonna play for fun here. So I want to play to win, play for fun. I guess I should specify that. I'm gonna go with my Shield Silver Charge deck. All of these decks are gone by going away tomorrow, by the way, so just gonna delete them all and probably never play them again, although I may very well delete them all and make a deck that's very similar.
The light shall bring victory.
I will fight with honor.
So we'll see how well Jagmaster can play. Heal on hit. Old cards have been updated with lifesteal instead of heal on hit. So Wicker Flame now reads lifesteal. Ah, that's the trick.
The light protects me.
Yeah, they updated Wicker Flame's text. I find it very odd that they did that and they didn't bother to mention it. But then when I first launched the new update, they did bother to tell me that they've changed Dreadsteed's text. Maybe I just clicked through it and didn't pay enough attention.
To battle.
I fight.
Doomslayer on the second turn. Interesting choice.
Back to your homes.
Reporting for duty.
gotta think things through here if I'm gonna really play. Most of the time I'm not paying attention. But if Jagmaster is as good as I think he is, he's gonna give me a real challenge.
Glory to the Sindori. Not quite what was planned.
Reporting for duty. To battle! To battle!
Job done.
Guess we should do this.
Behold the glory of a new sun!
Interesting. Legendary. Next turn, next turn.
To Northrend! Victorial!
Whenever you play a cast a spell, add a random priest spell to your hand. Ah, I see you could do a lot of mind attacks that way.
Reporting for duty.
Not
Job
quite.
done.
Blessed be this funnel cake!
Whenever you cast a spell, restore 3 health to your hero, so double health. Of course, this deck is running out of things to do.
Mount up! Don't worry, loves. The cavalry's here.
Glory to the Sindori.
Giddy up! To battle!
Get rid of that.
To battle!
And I guess we'll get rid of this.
To battle!
For some nice board control.
At last, a worthy disciple.
No duplicates. See, that's why I think I need to play like that card, the Ambush Bug, I think is what it's called. That puts duplicates in the opponent's hand always. I think that's just going to be a default part of everything
Reporting
going
for
forward.
duty. Reporting for duty. For justice!
Cake Boss is online saying, "What's up? Hey, Cake Boss." I'm going to keep an eye on Cake Boss and see if he says anything different, because last time I said hello, he didn't say anything else. I'm thinking he might just be a bot that just says hello and does nothing else.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see. Tragic Master says that's why we'll run Excavating Evil and Shadow Visions to multiply evils.
For justice!
That's a
Charge!
good tip. I'll look at that too. Like, I need to run something. Ideally, it would just be 1 or 2 cards. Cake Boss. I'm not a bot. My computer needs updates. Okay. Fair enough. And I was just getting a little paranoid there. I get a lot of... Usually it's messages on pre-recorded videos that mention, just say hello and then they don't do anything else.
To battle.
And I assume they're trying to start a conversation and get me convinced that they're real. Well played.
This jungle hides many secrets.
I see a lot of people talk about how their computer needs an update or their phone's dying. It seems like it's a very consistent problem. Yeah, I don't think I've won here. I think a lot of people, particularly people that are playing Hearthstone, since it doesn't demand that much on graphics. Have I got the card which adapts all the Silverhand recruits? I don't believe I do have that card in this deck, which probably means I don't have it at all. Or I chose not to have it for some reason. Maybe for a knife juggler. I have 2 in my paladin deck. Says Cake Boss. Okay. There is a large gap between the cards I would love to have, which is all the cards, and the cards I do have, which is some of the cards. And I wish the dust system was more generous, so I could take some of the cards that I'm not really that interested in and trade them for cards that I am more interested in. If I could do that, I would have a lot more legendaries and get rid of a lot of the things. It gives them poisonous, takes out really big taunts. That sounds like something I would like to have. Most definitely. I've lost here though. My single strategy, or it's about a 3-way strategy. It's giving these guys divine shields, so then I can take the divine shields and gain a buff on, let's see, the Blood Knight. So it's divine shield with Blood Knight plus Silverhand recruit improvements. And once those have been defeated, it pretty much can't sustain itself very well. Which is most of my decks, is once the 2 or 3 strategies at most that have been created have been undercut enough, I've run out of steam. Tragic Master, I like that card too. You can give them Wind Fury plus Dino Size them too. I do like Dino Size. I played that on Arena Run, and that was nice.
Reporting for duty. For justice. Back. Reporting for duty. The battle.
Cake Boss, summon 5 Silverhand recruits. Use the main power, then adapt them all. Yep. Is there enough mana in one turn to do that?
Let me change your mind. Is someone injured?
So I have
For
to do
justice.
this,
Reporting for duty.
and then this,
Reporting for duty.
and then
To arms,
this.
men. To battle.
And that. And how can we do anything
To
that
battle.
will actually win here?
To battle.
I don't think so. This guy kind of is like a adapt all of them. I don't use the strategy which I said, just wondering what you thought of it. It sounds good in theory. The one of the issues is just how much do I play Hearthstone. Like here, this deck has only been played 26 times since I built it last expansion, which
For
is to
justice.
say that you probably would want to play a deck 50 times at least before you're even certain how well it plays in real world scenarios. Kick Boss, why the hell did he heal? Well, maybe he's letting me do more damage to his face for more experience. Or maybe he's trying to win. I don't think Jagmaster ever said what his strategy here was. He was just playing me. And I said out loud that I was going to play trying to win. But he's probably helping me. Otherwise he wouldn't have just healed me then.
Reporting for duty.
Or maybe he's teasing me.
To battle.
Tragic Master says, "Yo, Cake, is there a card which gets stronger if your opponent is healed?" There is the Light Spawn that Light Warden, and then there's another wild card that gains plus attack when anything is healed. Cake Boss says, "Yo, Tragic." Yes, there's the light one.
Reporting for duty. For justice.
I don't think there's a card
Reporting for duty.
that would be that fair if you had like a 10 mana spell that says do 1 damage for every time your opponent healed their hero, because that would be very, very game breaking potentially.
The light protects me.
Cake Boss says he must have that in his deck then. No, Light Warden would have to be on the field. I think he's just letting me
For
win.
justice. Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in any of the that you could hold in your hand that improves because you healed yourself. There might be like a 10 plus mana card every time you've healed yourself. Play this, but I don't think there is. There should be something like that, maybe, but it should be considered at least. He may just play Reno Jackson here in a second. Too. Yeah. That would be the ultimate tease. Play Reno Jackson right now and refill his health to 30.
Your weakness betrays you.
I'm certainly not winning on my own accord, though.
Well met.
Reporting for duty. Justice. Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
I fight.
Light Warden next turn, Wild Pyro, Power Word Shield, Circle of Healing, Power Word Shield, Circle of Healing, Smash Face for like 1 billion is the dream,
To battle.
says Tragic Master. And get Prophet Valen on there while you're at it. That might help too. Almost certainly he would have a card to play that would heal himself and not let me win. Pronounce Darkness. That's an odd card to play as a priest. How did he even get that card? He must have stolen it.
Put this apple on your head.
Reporting for duty.
Jagmaster comes back in the chat. Good game. I was trying to give you a challenge without healing.
To battle.
Is
I fight.
what he was doing. Well, thanks for letting me win. I believe the priest, he was already at 60 anyways, so didn't really mean anything, but as far as experience. It's time to go over to the European account. Let's switch over and try to get those daily quests done. I don't know if anybody's online on the European account or not, but we'll give it a try. Just maybe after a while, if we can get the daily quest done, or if we don't care to actually get the daily quest done. Darn it, Hearthstone's crashed. And gonna have to reload it. Maybe I'll do one more arena run, not on the European account or Asia account, but on the Americas account. I also need to break up this episode. So we'll do that when we get back in here.
Come in. Tonight, we're throwing a party fit for a king.
Okay, so stay tuned if you're watching live. Everybody else, as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.